Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Magicshine Allty 1200 and 1200U bike headlight. The Magicshine Allty 1200 series of lights is one of Magichine's latest bike headlights and combines affordability with the latest FTR LightSync Control technology. Not only does it offer 1200 lumens, but Magicshine has also incorporated the ability to turn the headlight and taillight off with a single button press using the included remote. There's actually two versions of this light, so the 1200 and 1200U. The U is an undermount design, and then the 1200 is a standard top mount design. Both of the packaging is very similar. You have this nice orange and black color scheme that Magicshine is known for. All the specs and the output numbers printed on the back, and a nice glossy representation of the actual light right on the front. I'll go ahead and open this up. We'll go over the specs. So retail price on this is $79.99, so pretty affordable for the 1200 lumen output. You have a 4,200 milliamp battery. It's a non-removable design, so you just charge it from a USB Type-C charge port. You get that wireless remote, which again is part of that FTR LightSync Control, so you can use this to control a compatible headlight and tail light. And then again, you have the undermount and top mount variation. So I'll just show you the contents of the undermount version first. So we have the Allty 1200 with the top mount, the wireless remote, and then if we open this up, you can see a bunch of goodies in here. We have a out front mount, so it's a plastic out front mount, dual-sided, so you can put a computer on top. We have a USB Type-C charging cable, and then a whole bunch of little adapters and pieces in here. So we open up the bag. We have the GoPro adapter to the top mount. We have the rubber strap for the wireless remote. We have a couple spacers for installing the out front mount, depending on the handlebar diameter. We have a little, what I believe is just a GoPro adapter or Garmin adapter, so you can see that's matching that. And then we have the tools and a bolt for the bottom Garmin mount. So you can see a special bolt and then the Allen key included. With the other version, I won't take it out. You just get a standard handlebar mount in place of this adapter, as it doesn't need it. It uses the Garmin mount, but otherwise the same contents. Now let's take a look at the weight of the lights. So if we just do the Allty 1200 with the top mount, it has a Garmin base on there. That is 162 grams. With the undermount version, obviously you're going to need the mount, as well as the little GoPro adapter if you want to use it. That's 193, as it's actually metal, so that's why it weighs a little bit more. Then the included out front mount with the bolt for the GoPro is only 47, as it's a plastic construction. Visually, the Allty 1200s share the same rectangular design and square profile found in other Magicshine Allty and RN headlights. In fact, the Allty 1200 is very similar to the RN 1200 that was part of Magichine's previous lineup. Magicshine also offers this in two variations. You can see we have both. The U, which is designed for undermounting, and then the top standard version, which has a Garmin base mount. You can see otherwise the lights are identical. They've just modified how the mounts attach to the light itself. Branding is limited to Allty 1200 written on the side, Magicshine on top, and the same graphic on the other side. They've also added these cool horizontal cutouts. So they're almost like heat fins, which add a little bit of character, and then runs down the side of the light. You can also see the edge of these lights has a squared off, more masculine design, so you can see a sharp corner rather than a smooth corner like we've seen with the other products. It's also a metal design, which is really cool. So nice and robust and feels really high-end. Mounting is where this gets interesting. You can get either the undermount or the top mount. Start with the top mount. It's a standard Garmin mount, so you can see it's attached to the base. You have two raised tabs, and that goes to a corresponding mount. Magicshine even includes an out front mount. It's a simple plastic mount, and it just locks into place by rotating. Very secure, and you can use any mount. You don't have to use a Magicshine one. So the Garmin mount makes it compatible with just about anything. The cool thing about the U version, this underneath version, is that it uses a different new tab style design we haven't seen with Magicshine. So you can see rather than the big bulky Garmin one, which kind of sticks out and wider, they've added this more narrow tab design with little protrusions on the edge and a corresponding GoPro adapter. So you can see that has a matching shape. Slide it in, and then it locks in. So with this one, you can attach it to a corresponding Garmin mount. So you just slide it between the tabs, just like a standard 2-prong GoPro. And then that'll let you adjust the height up and down. So it's a pretty tight fit. And you can see, once you actually get it on there, it's a pretty sleek design. I definitely recommend the undermount version. It's a little bit weird that Magicshine sells both. A lot of lights have a flippable mount design. That would have been nice to see here, rather than having to choose which one you want. But with this one, you can see you have to choose it before you buy it. And I highly recommend, again, the undermount version. It's a little bit sleeker. This undermount design is also pretty cool. It's actually an all metal design. So it feels like it's all metal. You have bolts holding the top, and even the prongs appear to be metal, which is really rare to see. It's not some cheap plastic. And then to release this, you can see I just pulled down this little spring-loaded button, and that is metal too, in gray. So definitely a lot of value here just for the $80 price point. So I would have expected this to be plastic. The one thing to be aware of is this little release tab is quite thick. So depending on your out front mount, you can see if I put this back in here, you may not be able to use just any mount. You can see that almost touches the mount. You can still release it. You actually have to put this on the other side. You can see it actually won't work on that side with the bolt. So you have to make sure whatever mount you're using is flat. And if it kind of bulges out, this will interact with it. So you do have to watch out for that. But the included Magicshine one has no problem. The TTA mount doesn't have a problem. Just have to make sure it's flat. As far as the lens, this has a basic anti-glare design. So the same design we've seen a lot of the Allty and RN lights. So if I put it on the ground, you can see it is a anti-glare, but it's a standard cone shape. What they've done is basically put diffusers on the top, and that's why you get this asymmetric design. So a little bit less light up here, more here. So this additional light is thanks to that diffuser. And if you look closely, you can see it's kind of got a dimpled lens on the inside, which helps diffuses the light. So the beam shape, you can see, is smooth and wide with this additional bottom section, thanks to the diffuser. It's not quite as nice as a sharp beam cutoff light, and it will definitely cause glare. So if you're running in the full 1200 lumen mode, you want to make sure you dip this down or switch to a lower output mode if you're somewhere crowded. There's also little cutouts on the lens, which is a nice feature. So you can see even from side angles, the light is still visible. And then you have this little shield built into the body. So when you're out of the saddle and looking down, you're not going to see the headlight. Both versions are identical in that sense. So same lens, same shield, just the mount. The user interface on this is also really simple. You have the same battery status checker. So if I click it once, it'll either be green, flashing red, or red to tell you the status. So you don't check before you ride. Long hold to turn it on, and then single press to cycle. They've separated the flash modes, which is really nice. So you just have the constant modes, and then double tap to access the flash mode. So it makes it really easy to use, and you don't have to accidentally go through flash. There also is a remote, which is pretty cool. And that's part of the FTR LightSync technology. So you can see here is the remote. It's actually pretty nice quality. It's plastic, pretty lightweight with 2 hooks, but it has this really nice LED indicator right down the center. There's 2 buttons here. One's a circle, one's a square. And with this, you can actually pair it with the light and as well as a taillight. So here we have the Magicshine CME50 Mag. If I do a long hold on either button, they will turn on. Then I can control the mode by pressing the circle button, and that'll go through the different output modes of the headlight. So it'll cycle through the low, medium, high. If I press the square, it'll go to the 1200 max output mode immediately, regardless of where I am. Then I can tap any button to go back to where it was. Double tapping the square accesses the flash mode. Double tapping again, we'll go to the other flash mode. So pretty simple. And you can see with this LightSync technology, single press or hold on the remote turns both the taillight and headlight on. And a single hold again turns them on again. So really simple. You can just use one interface to control both. You can't control the taillight though, you just turn it on and off. If I want to switch the modes or switch to the white mode, I can use the interface on the light itself. The remote only modifies the headlight mode, but still a very cool design that makes it a lot more seamless to set up your bikes and then start riding. Now let's take a look at the output modes of the Allty 1200. You have three constant modes, a low that's 300 lumens, medium which is 600, and then the full high mode which gives you 1200 lumens and 2 hours of runtime. You also have a couple flash modes. You have night flash, which goes from a low to a high setting. It gives you 6.7 hours. And then day flash, which goes from on to completely off and has 11.5 hours. Here you can see a little bit of riding footage. And with this beam design, you can see more spot beam. So it's really focused in the center. And it gives you more visibility down the road than a wider flood beam. But you can see on the road, it is pretty nice and bright. We generally rode with the medium or a high setting. And then during the day, left it in the daylight flash mode as it's very bright. With these models, you can also choose between the lower mount or the upper mount. Here we have the lower mount, which is nice, clean installation, so really nice and flush. And it's impressive the fact that Magicshine has a metal button on their adapter. They're usually plastic. You can also easily toggle through modes as the flash modes are separated, so it makes it really easy to adjust brightness while you're riding and not worry about accidentally activating the flash mode. So overall, a nice bright light with some cool features, and with the FTR technology, you can turn it on and off with the taillight. Now let's compare the Magicshine Allty 1200 with other lights on the market. Here we have both the upper and lower variations. So the U is the undermount, and then the standard one's the top mount with the Garmin. You can see we have quite a few Magicshine lights already. Here we have the RN 1500, again, very similar. They've just gone with a more chiseled look with the 1200 here. So a little sharper line versus the smooth one. And the RN 1500 also has these cool color options. So you get anodization in different colors instead of just being black. But otherwise nearly identical in size. Same Garmin mount when you choose the upper one. Same power button, same interface, same lens as well. So you get the diffusion from this, but you don't really get a full beam cutoff like you get with the Evo variations. But you can see the lens is slightly different. So if you look closely at this one, just has dimpled one. Well, this one has more of a deflector in there. So when I turn this one on, you can see the lens shape has more light underneath it, thanks to that little subtle design and the top diffusers that you have with the standard variation as well. We also have the Allty 2500. So this one has a really cool LED here. So this is the S variation, so you can actually see your battery status, displays the runtime, and has a cool screen. So I really like this one because you get more features like that. And it has a cartridge battery, so this whole battery slides out. Has a standard Garmin mount, and the other cool thing about this is that you can run it with just a DRL. So you can see the top. I can just run the top little cob LEDs by themselves rather than just having all the lights on at the same time. While these are just a single LED design, so much more affordable than the 2500 and obviously less output. If you really want an anti-glare design, something like the Evo 1300, you can see very cool lens design. So no glare. And then you see if they put it at the right angle, you have a nice sharp line. While something like this one still has more of a cone shape, a little bit more extra light on the bottom. This one is a top mount only, but they went the Garmin mount as it's wider, while the undermount variation of the Allty 1200 has this interesting tab design and requires this included adapter. There also is the Evo 1700, which also has that top adapter. This one's all plastic. And to remove this from the mount, you can actually hold it, and you can see it slides out. So kind of a cool design, but with this one, a lot bulkier, and you can see a very different beam shape versus more of the standard cone shape here, which is more appropriate if you're doing mountain biking or really on darker trails you want to see more around you rather than just a trapezoidal beam. There's also tons of other options on the market. Fenix lights are pretty nice in the fact that they have the removable battery, which is something you don't see with most Magicshine lights except something like the cartridge battery. So this one uses just a standard cell. So more like a flashlight style. We also have the Trek Commuter Pro RT. So this one can control the headlight and taillight as well, and you get dual battery gauges. With this one, you get that dual syncing of on and off, just like you do with the Trek, but you don't get the ability to see the battery status. So you can see this one doesn't have it connected right now, so it flashes red. The beam shape, you can see has more of a sharp beam cutoff with more artifacts, but definitely a lot sharper, so less glare compared to the Allty 1200, but obviously costs a lot more. And the other thing that's interesting about the Allty 1200 is that you have to buy different versions if you want a top or bottom mounted, while lights like the LightSync U8 and then the KNOG blinder, I figured that out. So with the LightSync U8, there's 2 bolts here, you just remove that. You can flip this Garmin mount to the bottom, and that retains all the nice beam cutoff properties while letting you flip it, and you don't have to buy a different light. The KNOG one uses a clamping design. So you can see there's these little edges here, and this clamp can either go on the bottom or the top. So you can see I can just mount it on there. It's less secure with this kind of tab or this clamp design, so I do like the bolt-on design. And it'd be really cool to see Magicshine incorporate a flippable mount rather than having to buy different versions. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the Allty 1200. What we like about it is you have bright output with 1200 lumens. You're visible during the day or night. It also has flash mode separated from constant mode, so you can easily switch between brightness without having to toggle through flash. We also like the fact that Magicshine has added their LightSync technology, so it lets you control a taillight to power it on and off with the same wireless remote. The main negative with this light is the fact that the GoPro adapter might not fit all mounts. It's pretty tight spacing as the button is fairly large, so you do have to be careful. Taking everything into account, would give the Allty 1200 a 9.1 out of 10. It's a bright light with a lot of modern features. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.